All right, so in this video, which is number 3, and that's under section 1, which is sequence, function transformations, and compositions, we're going to look at the transformation of this graph. It says compute each translation. Well, technically there's multiple translations, but I want to save this for a different video. Excuse me. So let's do number 3 first, and then we'll take care of the other ones after. Says let g of x equals to the negative f of x plus 3. Then after that, we're adding 2 to the function. So it says graph g of x. So I do want to say off the back that this graph that we see is a graph of f. So we have multiple translations going on here, right? So let's address all of these, right? We have a plus 3 inside of the parentheses, right? So that means that is a horizontal translation. That means move left 3 units. Then we have a negative sign being multiplied in front of the function, and that indicates a reflection. And that is a reflection across the x-axis. So reflect across x-axis. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the transformations in the order that I'm labeling them. So this is going to be number 1, translation number 1. And this one is going to be translation number 2. So, and this one is reflect over x-axis. And the last one is going to be number 3, shift up 2 units. So move up 2 units. So those are our 3 translations. And I want to label some points here. So let's label some points in yellow on the graph. Here's a point here, a point here, a point here, a point here, and then a point here. And I'm going to move every point 3 units to the left, reflect it over the x-axis, and move it 2 units up. So for this first point, the point that is the point, this is negative 5, 2. We're going to move this point 2 units to the right, or to the left, I mean. So take this point, move it 2 units to the left. You're going to reflect it across the x-axis. So it's going to be right here. And then you're going to move that point 2 units up. And we'll put the final point in blue. So that's going to land right here. Move the left, reflect over the x-axis. I guess my colors got backwards, so let's do it again. Move to the left, reflect over the x-axis. Then after that, we're going to move that point 2 units up, and that's going to be right here. And we're going to do the same thing from every point. 2 units to the left. We're going to now reflect that across the x-axis. Looks like I went too far down, actually. Let's do that again. Reflect it across the x-axis. So that's at 4. That will be at negative 4. And then move the point 2 units up. Let's do the same thing with the next point. Move this point 2 units to the left. reflect that point across the x-axis. And then after that, we're going to move that point up 2 units. And it's going to land right here. I want to make sure I'm doing this correctly. Yep, I have bad hand-eye coordination. This point should actually be right here. Because when I reflect it across the x-axis, it will land right here. And then I'll move that point 2 units up. So that's my hand-eye coordination. It's just terrible. But anyways, repeat the process. Move this next yellow point 2 units to the left. Reflect it across the x-axis. And then move it up 2 units. So the point is right here. And now I'm going to start erasing some of these guidelines. So I'm going to erase this. I'm going to erase everything except for the red points as of right now. Yep, this is definitely not my video day. It's all right. We're going to get there. Watch. We're going to get there. Now I got it because I erased it too many points the first time. So now we're going to move this final point 2 units to the left. We're going to reflect that point across the x-axis. So that's going to be right about here. And then we're going to move that point up 2 units. So it's going to land right here. And now we can sketch. So now I'm going to erase the yellow points. And we're going to sketch this function to the best of our abilities. And there we go. This is g of x. All right. That took too much time, in my opinion. Now, letter B says state the domain of g of x. And remember, domain is all possible values of x. And we're going to state the domain in interval notation, I might add. So our domain goes from the smallest x value to the largest x value. The smallest x value is -7. And the largest x value is +1. And because they're both have no open circles, they both get brackets. Parentheses only comes from values that are excluded or from open circles. Now, we want to state the range of the function, and that's all possible values of y that is defined on this function. So as we can see here, the smallest value of y is -2. The largest value of y is +1. So my range is the interval from -2 to 1. The graph says find g of -2. So that means when x is -2, y equals, well, when x is -2, we're going to have to estimate. We can estimate y to be about 1/2. So y is about 0.5 or 1/2. And that's just an estimation. E says find all the zeros of g of x. So remember, zeros are x-intercepts. And the x-intercepts appear to be -3 and +1. So those are my zeros. And last but not least, it says find the y-intercept of function g. And the function appears to cross the y-axis at about 1/2. So we can say that the y-intercept is 1/2. And that is it for question number 3. All right, guys. I'll catch you in the next one. Take care.